All right, Juice. So I sent you a picture this morning
You did.
of my wife. I was on the golf cart. I made the women do the work.
Good for you.
Now, I got up this morning. We moved the horses to another pasture because of the storm coming. They can get in out of the weather better. And we forgot to lock the lower gate.
How many of them got out?
2. And they've been out all night.
All night?
Yeah.
Like just cruising the streets here.
Yeah. Cruising around.
It was nice of them. At least they stayed close.
They went out to the neighbors and ate grass in his yard.
Well, his grass is probably better.
I know him. He doesn't care. He'd say, let them eat. Let them all, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, we got lucky. They didn't go, they went towards the wilderness, not up towards the highway. Now, that's where I get scared if they go up to the highway and people driving crazy up there. But yeah, they had an adventure last night. And
So you had to go get both of them?
yeah, that's why the picture you see me driving and they got the harnesses. So they came up. We had some feed and they came right up to us. But I don't know, man, that was scary. I said, where'd they go?
Oh, man.
And if you follow their hoof, they went the long route, like around.
Yeah, these ain't old gray mares that are just retired.
No, they're still active. Yeah. They were not. They didn't tear nothing up, I don't reckon. And they get ran over. I didn't see any cuts on them. So we got lucky.
Wow.
They're expensive horses, too. So
I was going to say, they're not cheap.
no, one of them's especially pricey.
So no,
Yeah. My daughter rides on the contest and stuff. But yeah, it was crazy, man. Got up, looked around, and they were gone. And now our little dog Buddy, the stray,
yeah.
he'd been barking it all night. I think he was trying to tell us.
Yeah. Hey, dummy, you left the gate open?
Your horses are out, dude.
Who actually left the gate open, though? You?
It had been left. Well, I don't know. Me and my daughter were both out there goofing around.
Oh, don't blame her. She's a great kid.
Nope.
You wouldn't do that.
I should have went around and inspected.
You should have.
But I should have inspected security.
Dereliction of duty.
That's right. If it was a Marine thing, I'd have got written up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you'd have got off
That kind of-
hours.
That kind of
2/3 pay, two-thirds forfeiture pay,
bread and water.
restricted.
You ever seen anybody get bread and water?
Yeah.
On the ship. That's usually ship.
Yeah, on the ship, yeah.
Well, they put them in
They put them in the ship brig.
and then they give them food and bread and water.
Yeah.
How long?
How I have no idea. I just know one guy that I was in with, he wound up ticking off the old man, put him in hack.
Mhm.
He got bread and water for like 3 meals.
I was always on the Nashville, which is a tiny boat.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And we didn't have a brig, but they had a special, they just would lock them in one of the rooms.
Yeah.
So, but we never saw anybody get put on bread and water. We had one guy get restricted because he missed movement.
Oh,
He got drunk.
yeah, that's a no.
He finally came. They got him back
Yeah.
later. So we left Malta, and then he came back when we were in Italy.
Oh, that was nice of him.
But he got a hold of the Navy and said, "Hey, look, I missed movement. I was drunk." And then
That's court martial right there.
they just NJP'd him.
Well, that's a little bit
He
different.
got busted down. Now he got kicked out of the unit. So, but he got to recover, I guess you would say. It was funny.
Yeah.
Would have taken
Only seen one missing movement.
chow and stuff. It was funny. He got 3 meals. So
Yeah.
all the water he wanted. So, but yeah, he got office hours. He got restricted for 30 days on the ship. And then busted from sergeant to Lance Cool Dog. And maybe he did get a summary. I can't remember.
Well, if he lost that much rank,
I think it was a summary course.
yeah, he got a summary.
We had to go watch it. They did it out in the fantail, and everybody got,
Oh, yeah.
I had to go watch it kind of thing.
Oh, yeah, you want popcorn and everything when that takes place.
The colonel pulled his desk out there and everything.
Wow.
Now, we had some guys in Rota, they went out when they weren't supposed to leave the base,
Oh, yeah.
and they just got office hours.
Yeah.
They got busted down and ranked, but yeah, it was office hours. But it was funny. We had to go watch that too.
Yeah, we had a guy.
It wasn't our unit. It was a different.
We were on CACs out in the stumps,
Oh, God.
and we had a guy missing movement. They hammered him.
Yeah. How do you miss it out there? You can't go anywhere.
Well, his wife drove up from Pendleton,
Oh, God.
picked him up. She drove all the way out to Camp Wilson, picked him up, took him out in town. They got a hotel room. He spent the night. We got up the next morning, and they're like, "Hey, where's so-and-so?"
Not in the A-frame.
Oh,
That's back in the old A-frame, right?
yeah.
But-
Well, he come back a couple hours later. I guess battalion or whoever picked him up, regiment picked him up, brought him out to the unit. The CO and the first sergeant just said, "We're going to hammer you tomorrow morning. Be ready."
Yeah. Camp Wilson.
Yeah.
So one thing it's different now, I'm sure. They got metal huts and all this.
Oh man, it's like condos out there now.
I've seen pictures of that, but I had the A-frames where when the wind blew, the tin came off.
Yeah.
And we was always out there doing on the El Nino when it rained in the desert or snowed in the desert, which is crazy.
Oh yeah. I've had a snowball fight in the middle of 29 Palms.
Yes. It was where the A-frames were and where the chow hall and the little club was.
Yeah.
It was like going across. It was like 300 yards.
Yeah.
I'm like, why is it so far away?
Dude, that was crazy. When I got out there, the first time I was out there, we had the A-frames. They had just put the A-frames in. There was no chow hall.
Mm-hmm.
There was no little club. There was no, I guess they got a shopette out there now.
Really?
None of that was there.
Mhm.
None of it.
Yeah, we used to load up the Hummers and 5 tons to go to the PX.
Yeah.
With permission. Like you couldn't just leave there because you're pretending like you're leaving.
No,
Whatever.
we'd wait and then we'd hitchhike over to Main Side,
Yeah.
buy a bunch of beer and bring it back.
You had to pretend like you're on a deployment. It was stupid.
Oh yeah. It was
You
ridiculous.
had to get permission. You had to write a request to go to get a Hummer and go to the PX.
Yeah, we did. And we just hitchhiked and come back with the booze.
That was the only PX that you could take a military vehicle and park in the parking lot.
Yep.
Because of that reason. Because you're coming from Wilson and nobody had cars. But nope. Everywhere else, though, if you drove a Hummer and parked it in the PX parking lot, first sergeants came out of the woodworks.
Oh yeah.
I know that from experience.
Yeah,
I'd kind of park around back.
it doesn't work.
He came out, he found me. I'm like,
Yes.
he was yelling and screaming. I was like, I raised my hand. He goes, what? And I said, how did you see me? He started laughing.
They see all kind of stuff.
I think him out of the briar patches and find.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, all right. We had fun with that. This is a lot more serious talk today.
Yeah.
About Tyre Nichols. Some of y'all may remember the traffic stop happened January 7th, 2023, and he died 3 days later, unfortunately. All right. This kid seemed like he was not causing trouble. I tried to look up his background. It didn't seem like he had any felonies or warrants out for killing somebody. Nothing.
He didn't have anything that stood out.
No. He was a 29-year-old Black American man, was fatally injured by 5 Black police officers in Memphis, Tennessee, and died 3 days later. The officers, all members of the Memphis Police Department Scorpion Unit. Is this the SHIELD?
You got to have a cool name. Strike Team, Scorpion Unit. Yeah.
You know, when you go around killing citizens, that Scorpion thing doesn't sound good when you're on the stand.
Well, it makes it sound more tactical.
Not when you're sitting in front of the judge. It doesn't.
Or a jury.
Yeah. They pulled Nichols from his car, pepper sprayed him a bunch of times. It just says pepper sprayed him here. They tased him.
Yeah.
Basically beat the living daylights out of him.
They beat him to death is what they did.
Head injury. He died from a head injury, obviously. All right, let's go through the people involved. Tyre Nichols, a 29-year-old. He worked for FedEx and was a photographer and had a photography website.
Right.
Normal dude, right? All right. He was raised in Sacramento, moved to Memphis in 2020. His mother is Miss Wells. According to his family attorney, Nichols was almost impossibly slim due to Crohn's disease, so he couldn't eat junk food, basically.
He couldn't hardly do anything.
Yeah. Weighed 145 pounds, 6 foot, tall, skinny guy, 6'3", skinny fella. Police officers, 5 Black Memphis police officers. Keep saying Black. I don't care what these guys are, for whatever reason they wanted to beat somebody up that night.
Yep.
You got Darius Bean, age 24, Demetrius Haley, age 30, Emmett Martin, 30, Desmond Mills, 32, Justin Smith, 28. And they'd all been around for 5 to 3 years. All right. Some more senior than others. You had Dwayne Smith, who was the supervisor with 25 years experience in the Scorpion Unit. So he was on the Scorpion Unit. He just wasn't with that bunch that day.
Right.
He arrived at the scene later during the beating and didn't do anything. He retired a day before an administrative hearing in which he was expected to be dismissed. Smith was subsequently considered for decertification, which bars police officers from working again in the jurisdiction that certifies them. The documents accompanying the decertification request contended that Smith failed to address Nichols' complaint that he could not breathe, failed to obtain reports from the police officers to their use of force, told Nichols' family that Nichols had been driving under the influence despite lack of information to support that charge, and failed to wear a body camera in violation of the department's policy. So he did everything, right?
Yeah. No, I think they did the coroner's report. Toxicology came back. He did have alcohol in his system and a little bit of cannabis.
Okay.
THC.
So we have DUIs, millions a night, millions a day.
Yep.
And
Now, he was well under the limit. He was well under the limit. I think he was like 0.04 or something.
I mean, you have drunk driving all the time. They get them out, put handcuffs, and take them to jail without beating their skull in.
Right.
So even if they thought he was drunk, it's not right.
But again, he was a pot smoker. And I don't care what anybody says. My experience is anybody that's doing crank, heroin, anybody that's doing any of the hard drugs like that, they want to fight. I don't care where you are, they want to fight. I've never had a pot smoker, hey man, let's do this, and start fighting. They're always like, man, you got me, dude.
Yeah, marijuana is not a aggressive drug.
No. It makes some people paranoid, but I've never in my life run into anybody. And I smoked pot when I was younger. I had friends that smoked pot. I got friends that still smoke pot. I've never seen anybody want to fight after they smoke some pot.
Me neither. I've always seen it tone people down.
Yeah.
I'm not a proponent of marijuana. I think it'll ruin your life, but it's not like crystal meth where they're wide open. Or cocaine,
Yeah,
So
I agree.
So we got Preston Hemphill. He's another guy that showed up. He's a white officer who's hired by the Memphis Police Department in 2018. Was identified as a sixth officer involved in an initial traffic stop. Hemphill was among the first officers to encounter Nichols during the January 7th traffic stop. He deployed his taser during the confrontation on his body camera video and seen chasing Nichols down the road. He then turns back to the scene of the initial traffic stop. Hemphill was heard on his body cam saying twice, "I hope they stomp his ass," before Nichols fled the scene.
Yeah.
Okay. On January 30th, Memphis Police Department announced that Hemphill had been relieved of his duty pending outcome of administrative investigation. He was fired from the police department. And in February, he also wrote a false report.
Yeah.
How do you write a false report when it's recorded?
It's easy. It's absolutely easy. One, you're an idiot. And two, you just don't care.
Isn't most body cam footage now transmitted to the cloud? Like, we can't go back and erase it.
Well, depends on the cameras. I've never had one that'll do that. All of them have the little SD cards in it. And every morning you take it out, put it in the chief's box with your name and stuff on it, and he reviews it that day.
Puts it in the storage or whatever.
Yeah.
Good. I think now they transmit, though.
Yeah, they probably do.
It's being uploaded to the cloud where you can't, no matter what you do, it's going to be on file.
Well, I don't doubt it. I mean, that's the technology they had the last time I was policing.
That was like 1943.
It was close. It was 1827.
How was the War of 1812? Was it rough?
Yes.
How about World War VIII?
No. 9 was really tough, though.
World War 11 is going on now.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's a joke. If you don't know the news, go watch the news, right? Let's keep going here. They said that Hemphill, this guy, would not be criminally charged in connection to Nichols' death because through a thorough investigation, including reviewing hours of body cam footage and interviewing witnesses.
But I do believe he was fired because of violation of agency policy.
Yeah, he wrote a false report, and he was also named in the civil lawsuit as well. The Scorpion Unit. Bum, bum, bum.
As soon as you get caught lying about anything, your career is over. None of your cases are really going to go in front of a judge.
Right. Here we go. The Scorpion Unit was assembled by Memphis Police Chief Carolyn J. Davis in October 2021 to deal with serious crimes. So reckless driving is not a serious crime.
No.
Let the uniforms deal with it, right?
Well, it depends. If you're working a high drug area and you have probable cause for a stop and you may work it into something, but you don't just stop the guy, jerk him out of the car and just start throwing a melee on him. It's the polyester pig pile that happened. That's absolutely unsat.
Most drug cops I've met or detectives, they don't get involved in that kind of thing. They're dealing with, hey, let's go bust Johnny the drug dealer down the road. Prostitution rings, like human trafficking, big time deals. Let the uniforms deal with the traffic. We're dealing with this. That's what the Scorpion unit's there for.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The Scorpion has been compared to the Red Dog unit Davis commanded in 2006 and 2007 as a member of the Atlanta Police Department in Georgia. Davis described the Red Dog as utilizing aggressive crime-fighting strategies in high-crime areas citywide. Good. Do it, right? The Red Dog unit was disbanded in 2011 after the city agreed to settle a lawsuit regarding excessive force by Red Dog officers. So it seems to be what I've seen on these special task force is they think that the department rules don't apply. They forget, you know what I mean? Hey, yeah, we're out here dealing with rough people, but you still got to...
You have to maintain bearing. You have to, you can't be just going off the handle for no reason.
Cracking skulls.
Yeah.
Breaking legs, whatever.
They had the LA Sheriff's Office, they had a gang of sheriff's deputies had these tattoos that signaled them out, just like this strike force Scorpion stuff. They all just hit the news. It wasn't that long ago.
Right.
Because they're all out committing crimes, beating people up. And
I mean, it's still, you got to have a warrant to arrest somebody or probable cause, right? On the street, you got to have a reason. Looks like they're committing a crime or appears that they will commit a crime.
Right.
Right. Just because they got a tattoo or look like a gangbanger, you can't go up and start beating on them.
That's called profiling.
Yeah.
That's illegal.
Yeah. And then it turns into assault.
Yeah.
These guys got charged with false imprisonment, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
So Nichols was 2 minutes away from his home when he was stopped by MPD at 8:24 p.m. on January 7th. Officers Haley Martin and Preston Hemphill conducted an initial stop of Nichols at the intersection of East Rains and Ross Road near Autumn Ridge neighborhood. The police vehicle surrounded his car on three sides. Fine. All right. The body-worn camera footage released by the city of Memphis does not show any activity earlier than an officer responding to a stop in progress. So they weren't chasing them around, right?
No.
Haley and Martin were at the traffic stop when Hemphill arrived at 8:24. Haley pulled Nichols out of his car and said, and as the boy said, "I didn't do anything." An officer shouted, "Get it on the bleeping ground." And moments later, an officer shouted, "I'm going to tase you." This escalated quickly.
Oh, right from the rip. Yep.
Why not write the kid a ticket? We'll see you.
Yeah.
Now, if they smelled marijuana, you could ask them to get out, right?
Sure.
If you don't want to get out, you can pull them out. But
Sure you can.
Does it take 3 or 5 people to handle this deal?
Well, it does if you're going to stomp them.
Right. So here's what a kid made a mistake. I mean, he didn't done it. I think he might have been guilty of smoking dope in the car, maybe. But you don't crack his skull till he dies, right? A third officer held a taser against Nichols' leg while he was also used his right hand to hold Nichols to the ground. From the moment that Nichols was pulled from the car to being held on the ground, officers simultaneously yelled numerous commands, threats, expletives, and made assaultive comments, at him. While being held on the ground, an officer continued to yell for Nichols to lie down. So he's on the ground there, yelling to lie down. Nichols responded, "I'm on the ground." An officer yelled back, "Lay on your stomach." Moments later, Haley deployed pepper spray against Nichols, which hit several of the other officers.
Yeah.
Nichols broke free and began to run.
Scared.
Right. He thinks he's getting killed, right?
Yeah, I get it.
Right. And he's pursued by at least 2 officers. 2 more police units arrived on the scene. Footage showed that one officer who remained at the area of the traffic stop said, "I hope they stomp him." We talked about that. Yeah.
Right.
The officers caught up to him, had him on the ground at Castlegate Lane, and about a half mile away, about 800 meters. From the original stop, footage from a pole-mounted CCTV camera showed an officer using his legs to push Nichols hard to the ground. Between 8:33 and 8:36 p.m., Nichols was punched and pepper sprayed a second time, and kicked in the upper torso numerous times by a 4th officer. And the officers can be heard yelling, "I'm going to baton you," before striking Nichols several times with a baton, then punched 5 times in the face by an officer. Man, can't we just get him on the ground and put cuffs on this dude?
I get it, but and I know everybody's adrenaline in situations just dumps, and everybody's just it's crazy times. One person needs to be giving that person commands. One, not 5 people giving 5 different commands, because he's not going to hear everything. You know they're going to have tunnel vision. They're going to have auditory occlusion. They're not going to hear everything. One person giving the commands.
Right. Right. Another problem they had is when they got him finally cuffed and stuff. Well, they didn't stuff him. The ambulance came and picked us. And the ambulance showed up. They didn't do anything for like 16, 20 minutes.
Yeah. They didn't render any aid.
They got in trouble. And the cops are standing around him, joking and talking about how they just beat him up.
Yeah.
I see problems there, Juice.
I do too.
I don't care. Okay, here's my take. Again, it's worth about a penny or a dime. Maybe 7 cents in the middle. I don't know, Juice. What do you think?
I don't know. Depends on what you're going to say.
Even enemy combatants we had overseas, we rendered aid to them.
Yes.
And this is an enemy combatant. This is a U.S. citizen.
Yes.
And you got to render aid.
You do.
But if you're the guy, while he was on the ground and you continue, after he's subdued, and you continue beating him on the head with your stick and punching him, do you think they were out to murder a guy that night?
I don't know if they were out to murder, but they were out, again, I've said it before, bullies with badges. They were looking for something. And they thought this kid was going to be the easy pickings.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of them escalated the rest of them.
Yeah.
And it turned into that polyester pig pile, and they stomped that kid for no reason.
Right. Now, if he'd have pulled a gun, got it.
Oh, yeah. I got it.
Pulling a knife, any kind of weapon, he appears to just laid on the ground and they whooped him.
Yeah. And the only thing he did, and I believe because he was scared, was he ran.
Mm-hmm. Trying to separate from this butt whooping he was getting.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, this is a problem here. Now, some when they pull them over, they pull weapons, argue for no reason, or they have drugs and don't cooperate, right? This kid seemed like he cooperated, and they could have got cuffs on him pretty easily.
Right.
And it turned into a butt whooping and ended up dead. You know,
there's a lot of them that just amp up the situation that it doesn't need to be.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've arrested people and had them screaming and yelling, crying, ready to fight. And by the time I got them down to the jail, we were laughing and telling jokes. And I still helped them. Hey, man, this is what you got to do.
You got to,
Yeah.
This is what you got to go see the judge.
Yeah. But see what big deal? And they understood I was just doing my job. I've had the parents yelling and screaming at me. Well, they got to listen. I'll help you out. This is all you got to do. Call a bondsman, get everything set up. By the time I get that person down there and walk them through the booking process, you'll be there taking care of it. It's just going to be out the side door into the car, and you go home until your court date.
Right.
There's no reason to treat anybody like crap, even if you're arresting them.
Right.
They're still human beings. And to go hands-on, as soon as you get that person in control, you de-escalate.
Mm-hmm. And I think they've done it before and got away with it. That's my opinion.
You didn't get it to that level like this was the first time.
Yeah. They were being aggressive.
Yeah, they were the goon squad.
Yeah. Most departments have a goon squad. Bigger departments like your cities.
Yeah.
But the goon squad is there for aggressive behavior, right?
Yeah.
They come support police officers that are having trouble.
Oh, yeah. It doesn't matter, like, on the road or in corrections. They have a rapid response team. I was on that. They had a cell extraction team. I was on that. But it was reactive to the situation or the behavior of the inmate.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So you can't just go in there and get the rapid response team together and go, look, we need to find one and beat the living daylights out of them today.
To make an example.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Right. I don't know, man. Do you ever get doo-doo on you on the cell extraction?
Yes.
I've seen that. I've heard of that where they smear crap all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
To get them out.
And they are hard to get a hold of.
Mm-hmm. And you got to get them out, and it's nasty. So
yeah. And I have had an inmate cover himself, and I didn't know. I was just walking around doing inside security, and he was ready to get extracted from a cell, and I went walking into the cell block, the dorm, and everybody's yelling at me through the window, stop, stop, stop. I'm like, pop the door. They told me what was going on. They popped the door. I stuck my head in. I seen the inmate who I knew. And I told him, I said, you're going to regret it. if I get anything on me. Oh, you're straight, Officer Juice. You get a pass. And then I went out and talked to the guy, and in 5 minutes, I had him washing himself off, cleaning up the cell. Everything was good. I leave. 15 minutes later, I'm back down there because he's ready to fight, covered in doo-doo again.
It's some mental things. So
yeah, it's the officers amped them up.
Right. All right, my man. We're going to close it up for the day. And then get anything else cool to say?
No.
Other than bye, just
buy juice.
All right. We'll see y'all again on another episode soon.